rules.
Culver's is great, dude. I'm
No.
so sick of you, Aram. You got Fink into it too. I heard you guys called me artsy, and I am, and I take that as a compliment. But like, how can you? That I said it feels dangerous to slander, to defame a fast food burger without having a fast food burger. Like, oh, Culver's sucks. I've never had it. I've never heard of it, but it blows. Why, Peter?
It's called a butter burger.
Yeah, it's
Sounds
good. Dude.
like scary. Not just it sounds gross. It sounds not only bad, but detrimental to your health on top of it. A butter burger?
Is coming to see your friend Jack in the Midwest like at or near the top or middle or even bottom of your list?
It is at the top of my list, and we're going to go to Culver's and we're going to do a review, and we're going to see truthfully whether it's actually better than In-N-Out. I can understand you liking it. If you just like, for example, the way Aram brought up BurgerFi, he wasn't like, this is much better than In-N-Out, taking a stance. He's like, it's down here in Florida. I'm a big fan of it. It's something you should try. That's reasonable. You coming on here saying it's better than In-N-Out is blasphemous. It's blasphemous. It's terrible. It's a bad take.
I respectfully disagree with you.
It's fine.
All right, so we're going to do that. And I think a really unique and never before seen way to go about it is like, if we get out of the car and you're standing outside and you pretend that you're only going to take one bite and then review it, but take more than that. But before that, you say one bite, everybody knows the rules, right? Like, even though nobody knows the rule right away.
That'd be so funny and great.
That'd be so good.
We're not ripping anybody off, are we?
No, I don't think so. Just Baseball Show for Thursday, February 23rd. We're talking about rules in Major League Baseball. I also want to talk about one in minor league baseball. And you said you've been getting a lot of questions. You've been getting a lot of like replies on social media, whether it be YouTube, whether it be, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. And I said, Taylor Davis and I talked about it on one of Just Baseball's new podcast, Show and Go. Because Taylor saw a bunch of it. He caught with the automatic ball strike, which I want to talk about at the minor league level. In Charlotte, he's also seen, minor league baseball had some shift regulations. We didn't have that in AAA, but we have the pitch clock, which is a game changer. So it's fresh in my mind. I'm ready to talk about it. We'll go one by one here. We can start with bigger bases. Do you want bigger bases?
Yeah, I just think it's cool in general that MLB is changing the rules. And normally that sentence wouldn't come out of my mouth, because normally when MLB institutes new things, they often don't go all that great, or they're not often well received initially. And I assume that some of these rules initially won't be well received. But that's why I really wanted to have this conversation, go over the new rules and talk about why some could end up being complete game changers, like you said. But also, I want your opinion on some that you might not necessarily like, because not everything is going to be perfect. But after looking at the rules, listening to you and Taylor, and also listening to guys like Jeff Passan, I was even listening to WFAN with Michael K. And there's a lot of positives, but there's some negatives, and I'm excited to go over them because they will affect our game moving forward.
Get the outlet right. Michael K is not on the Fan, baby. He's not on FAN.
Michael K show. I watch it on YouTube.
On ESPN New York.
I don't know what I'm doing. I watch it on YouTube, so.
You doofus.
He used to be on the Fan, right?
New York resident, doesn't know what channel, doesn't know what station the Michael K show is on.
I don't have a car.
Crazy, man. Who cares, dude? Pull it up. You know what? Yeah, you watch the video side. It doesn't matter. What is that? Does Yes pick up the Michael K show, or does SNY pick up the Michael K show? I'd assume Yes.
Yes. Yeah, it has to be Yes. I don't watch it on Yes. I don't watch it. I just watch it on YouTube. It's great. They have these little segments. It's much better.
You crazy, man.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, hit us with a like, hit us with a, because a lot of people, they watch this on YouTube and they don't even listen to the podcast stuff, even though it's very similar.
Yes. It's the same exact thing. You hear the same words. You just don't see our faces.
Sometimes there's secrets.
Sometimes we do show and tell. You're right. Now, the thing with baseball, I think baseball people will say, oh, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It was broken. Yeah. Like, baseball was broken. There were some serious issues. Pace of play was a serious issue. I think reluctance to put the ball in play was a serious issue. But the reason I want to start with the bigger bases, Taylor said, wait, you're forgetting one at the tail end of us talking about it. And I said, which one? And he said, bigger bases. And I said, do you care? And he said, no, dude, I don't care. I think I understand the idea of making it a larger surface area for guys to step on to limit, injuries and stepping on each other's feet and all that stuff. But like, who cares? It's not going to change stolen bases.
That's what I was curious about, because I saw that one and my first instinct was, all right, I'll scroll right past this one because like, who cares? But then there was another part of me that said, well, will this impact stolen bases? No. Will it make guys more likely to run? Maybe that doesn't actually lead to more stolen bases, but is there a small part of their brain thinking I might have a better shot of stealing this base? It might not. I'm curious if you've seen anything or if you've heard anything, because everything I've heard won't really matter. But I had the question, so I'm asking the question.
I think Josh Donaldson may go 30-30 with the bigger bases now.
Fuck him.
It doesn't. Did you see his thing? Like he was going viral on shorts. Twitter.
Ugh.
No, it wasn't shorts. It was high baseball pants with crew socks. So he just had half of his calf showing.
I thought it looked like pinstripe shorts he was wearing. Obviously, they're baseball pants and he like hikes them up, but they looked like shorts. And I see him striking out against Clark Schmidt in spring training. Like, I know there's people on social media trying to bring him down, but it's working. Like, it's working. I see the videos. It's working. I hate it.
Yeah, no, it's got zero. I think zero difference will be made with the bigger bases. I really don't think so. Like maybe a guy has that, teensy bit of confidence, like, oh, I have 2 more inches that I can get my fingertip on, whatever. I don't think that it's going to impact absolutely anything.
The limit injuries. So it's a good thing, right? You would say positive?
It's fine. Yeah.
It's not a negative.
Matter. It's not a negative. It's okay, who cares?
Okay.
One of them that I'm really torn about, I want to save the pitch clock, is the shift rule. So the new shift rule that will be in play in Major League Baseball is 2 infielders need to be on either side of second base. And everybody, all 4 infielders, need to have their feet on the infield dirt, which I think helps the anti-shift crowd. You can still shade. The difference between shade and shift, I think, is really important because you can still shade a lefty bat to pull, right? The shortstop can be 6 inches to the left of the second base bag. He's not playing your typical shortstop positioning. They are not ball and chained to their straight up position. They can still shade. What this eliminates is the second baseman playing shallow right field and the shortstop playing second base, which overall I do think is a pretty good thing. I was anti banning the shift. I like that they're kind of finding a halfway point.
I agree. I go back and forth on hating and loving the shift because the fan in me, the Yankee fan in me, wants these big lefty boppers to have the open right field and
naturally
be able to squeak these ground balls through. But the baseball person, like the person who covers the entire league, the person who follows other teams, thinks if it's an advantage, you should use it. And then there's also scenarios where, can you drop a bunt down, please? If everyone's on the right side of the field, and you're this perceived power hitter, your job is to hit home runs. Yeah, getting on base works. Like, I'm sure if you're a home run hitter and you hit a single up the middle, you're not upset. It's the same thing with bunting. Like, if you can learn how to bunt the ball down the third base line, I loved when the guys like Robinson Cano were doing that for the Yankees. Yeah. Just get on base. Sometimes it even results in a double. Be smart. So I go both ways. But then when it finally happened, I am just happy with it. I'm not upset with it. I'm happy that we don't have to deal with complaining anymore, but there's still the element there of like not shifting over, like you said, but just kind of moving a little bit.
Yeah. But there is more greenery for these guys to drop a single into, which is excellent. And I like that they're limiting the depth at which guys play. I don't really care about horizontal positioning. My thing was vertical positioning. Manny Machado playing shallow right really pissed me off.
Like there were games where he was running back into like almost deep right field to catch.
Yeah, no, he was in the right field corner. Like he was in foul ground deep in right field and he was making catches.
One thing I did like about the shift, and maybe this was in very specific circumstances and it didn't happen that many times, but 4 outfielders was kind of crazy.
It was crazy. And I think that we're going to see, so Matt Spiegel, friend of the program, tweeted out this like diagram of what could happen in terms of outfield positioning, where you almost go from 4 outfielders to 2 outfielders, and you got a guy that puts it on the ground all the time, and you make your center fielder your left center fielder, you make your rangiest corner outfield your right center fielder, and then you've got the less rangy guy almost come play a shallow center to cover that area, which I think teams are going to find loopholes. And I think we're going to see Tampa or Cleveland or whoever the hell do these crazy things. We're still going to see some crazy defensive alignments. I think in a perfect world for me, Jack, the baseball fan, I would have placed no limitations on how many guys could have been on either side of second base, but I would have placed limitations on all 4 infielders needing to have their feet on the infield dirt. So I'm okay with a shortstop, second baseman, and first baseman all to the right of the second base bag. I just want them all on the infield dirt. Fair?
Yes, that is fair. And I won't bring you down for that one like Culver's. That's just your opinion. And that makes a lot of sense. My opinion is let's have the shortstop and the third baseman on the left side of the infield, whether that be straight up the middle, but not shading above second base. And let's keep second base and first base on the right side of the infield. That's what I was hoping from the shift. That's more of what I think we'll see. So I'm happy about that. That's something that I think makes the most sense. And I'm also excited for all these players who, the numbers show that with the banning of the shift, they are due to have better numbers next year. And I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see how it changes the game. I think it's overall a plus.
Which is why you think Corey Seager is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer after the 2023 season.
Corey Bonds.
He's going to hit 450 with 80 nukes, and it'll be the craziest year you've ever seen in baseball history. It's road to the show on rookie level, and you're on crack.
We're not exactly sure how, but yes, he will double his home run total just because a second baseman isn't playing shallow right field.
Hell yeah, man. Yes. It's a confidence booster. How about this from another friend of the program, Codify? Major League Baseball teams hitting under 240. And this is my baseball Neanderthal coming out, but I like batting average.
Me too.
And this banning of the shift will help out batting average. I think we're going to see some 300 hitters this year. Thankfully, I don't think the batting title is going to go to somebody that hits 318 like it did last year. But years or MLB teams by year with teams hitting under 240 from 1998 through 2009, there was not a single Major League Baseball team with a team batting average under 240. Crazy. Then you get 5 or fewer until 2018. 2018, there were 8 teams that hit under 240. 2019, 4 teams. 2020, 11. 2021, 12. 2022, 14 teams hit under 240. That means the league average batting average was 240.
Yeah. And people say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It was broken.
It was broken. That is a bad product. It is similar right now to the NBA, and they're not making rule changes where it's all threes. It's all this bullshit. That's why I don't watch the NBA anymore. And I used to watch the NBA. And I'm sure there's a lot of baseball fans who used to watch Major League Baseball, but then saw this product where it's slowly transitioning to 3 true outcomes where they're not putting the ball in play as much. I'm sure there's fans like that. Hopefully this brings back those fans, seeing more balls in play and more base hits. Because while average, we joke around about it, that it's not the best stat to compare players with, it's visible on the field. A line out with an expected batting average at 104 with a launch angle of 14 is good in your StatCast data, but it doesn't result in a base hit. It doesn't result in more fun. It's a hard hit ball. It's good to project later. More often than not, that ball is going to land, but batting average is simply base hits, doubles, triples. We want those events in Major League Baseball. So the batting average is visible on the field.
99% of our listenership grew up playing at some point in their lives, whether it was backyard, whether it was t-ball, whether it was little league, whether it was high school, college ball, whether it's guys that are in the professional ranks. 99%, maybe higher than that, of our listenership played baseball or softball some point in their life. So I ask you this, as the former player, whether it was former t-ball or former college player, what was more fun, a single or a walk?
Yeah.
A single. What made you sleep better that night? If you went 2 for 4 or 1 for 4 with a walk?
2 for 4. And like,
you know
not
what I
even
mean?
close.
It's like hits feel good. Walks are the worst thing to watch in baseball. There's nothing I hate more than walks from a pitching perspective, from a hitting perspective. And I think we're going to get less of that here because guys are more inclined to put the ball in play. Because a Kyle Schwarber, he's not going to take a billion pitches waiting for the one that he can lift to right field.
Because that's the only way he was able to get hits, because if he hits the ball on the ground on the right side, it's getting gobbled up by 8 infielders.
Exactly. So I think guys will be more naturally inclined, like their hitting instincts will come back. And it may not be this year. It may take 2 or 3 years, but I think guys' hitting instincts are going to come back where instead of, oh, that was a good pitch to hit, but that wasn't my pitch to hit. If they see a pitch to hit, they're going to swing at it. And we need more guys swinging at good pitches.
Exactly. And that's why this is a plus. Now, you made a great point. It might not immediately show up opening day, but it's
habits are hard to break.
And it's something that will make our game better.
Yes. You ask somebody to stop biting their nails, it may take a year for them to stop. You know, they may, when I was in elementary school, I still am a nail biter, but when I was in elementary school, I put clear nail polish on. And I developed a taste for clear nail polish. It was that bad. And I was just like, okay, so this isn't going to get solved overnight, right? And it's instinctual. If you want to quit a social media, if you take Twitter off your phone, but only have it on your iPad, every time you go on your iPad, you're going to open Twitter, right? Habits are hard to break. So a Schwarber, a Gallo, a Seager, it's going to be hard to see a pitch on the inside and maybe low where they feel like they can hit it hard, but maybe on the ground and not think, oh, I got to lay off that, right? It's going to take a little bit for their natural hitting instincts to come back and play. But I think this is a great start. Grade the new shift rule for me, A+ to F.
I give it an A. I thought it was great. I think it's a great thing. I think it's overall a plus. I think you're splitting hairs if you're finding a way to give it like a B or a B-. I don't think it's an A+ because it's not perfect, but it's an A. I'm very excited for it. I think it makes our game better. That's a 94%.
So my personal preference will make me give it a B+, because again, I would not mind if there were 3 infielders on a certain side of the bag. So that's the only reason I give it a B+. So.
And that's totally fair. My opinion is what it is, so I'm happy.
It's good. It's something that we added that will benefit the game.
Exactly.
Pitch clock. A+, A+. I have watched it for the last year. It is awesome. I cannot wait for this to be a part of Major League Baseball moving forward. 15 seconds between pitches with nobody on, 20 seconds between pitches with a runner on base. Kenley Jansen was taking over 30 seconds between pitches with a runner on base. It's a problem, man. And I noticed it so drastically. And we were talking about this on Show and Go. I noticed it to the nth degree when we had a major league rehabbing pitcher. So you've got a reliever. David Bednar had a rehab assignment. Luis Castillo had a rehab assignment that I was calling. I want to take Bednar, for example, because Bednar threw in the 4th inning. We had a classic AAA guy work with the pitch clock. Game was flying by. We were through 3 innings, I think, in, 30, 35 minutes. They are max 5-minute half innings. Bednar's inning was a 1-2-3 inning, and it took about 7 minutes. There's a massive, massive difference. I couldn't be higher on it. I've seen it firsthand for a year. Any questions that you have, I will try and answer. Fire away.
No, I mean, I don't have that many questions. More just I heard you and Taylor talk about it on Show and Go. People who have not only been in the physical games, but have then called the physical games. So that's why definitely go check out Show and Go. That podcast is awesome. Great insight from both sides of the ball. So heard A pluses from both of you. Then I was listening to the Michael K show when they had Jeff Passan on. They had Buster Only on. You should have heard Passan and Only raving about this, talking about this is going to be 1970s baseball once again, that this was the biggest problem in our sport. They were raving about it like you handed them a check for $1 million. That was their opinion on it. And hold on, Don LaGreca, though, then came firing back because we know Don LaGreca. I think he's one of the most entertaining people who talks into a microphone about sports. You can love him or hate him, but entertainment is his game. And he made a really good point where he was like, this is the most guaranteed bet of the MLB season. I will hang my hat on this. Of course, he's screaming saying this, so I can't do him justice. But he said one pitcher or more will blame the pitch clock on an injury. He was like, put it in writing. This is happening. And I thought that was funny because I truly can see that. Could it lead to a guy who, Glass now with the new balls, and he was like, yeah, I couldn't get a grip on it, so that's what led to my elbow tear or something like that. Or he made some points.
But what's the argument here? I can't stretch my arm in between pitches anymore?
That it's getting me off my rhythm. It's getting me off my routine. Pitchers are creatures of habit. So if it gets them off slightly, they could feel rushed and then overextend their leg, tear a hamstring. I don't know. I'm not making that point.
Make your routine better.
Yes. But that is something that you could say, well, pitchers figure out the ball, right? You have all this time, figure it out. But then they didn't. Like, these guys are just creatures of habit. I'm not trying to compare. I'm just giving you a point of something that someone else said that I thought to myself, I could see that, whether it's true or not, a pitcher blaming an injury on him being accelerated from the pitch clock, messing up his routine.
I think they're very different conversations, because the baseball conversation and what Glasnow was getting at actually has an impact. Make a fist and feel your elbow where your UCL is. Feel that tighten up. You can feel that in your forearm. So when each ball feels different, you're trying to grip it. And Glasnow said, choke the shit out of it. The harder fist you make, the more tight that is, and you feel a direct line to your UCL. So I understand that that could be an injury problem, right? Throwing a dusty cue ball. I know that's what people were calling it. With this one, what routine takes more than 15 seconds for a pitcher? The only guy is like Steven Strasburg. And Kenley Jansen, is he going to blow out an elbow because he can't do his sniper type breathing where he's got to get his heart rate right before throwing this pitch? Bullshit. I don't care, man. I saw so many pitchers that benefited from this. And tell you what, I heard more negative reactions to the pitch clock from the hitter than the pitcher, because the pitcher has the advantage. When they are on, when they are pounding the strike zone, when they're feeling it, all they want to do is get the ball back and throw it again. They want to be in attack mode. They want hitters on their heels. And the beauty of this pitch clock is that hitters have no time to reset. It's awesome. Now, the problem on the pitching side is if you're off, if you keep on missing up with your fastball, if you keep on yanking a slider, you want to take that moment to take a lap around the mound and reset, mentally reset, whether it was take your hat off, deep breath, stretch something, touch your brim, whatever it was. You need to think of a really quick way to reset now, as opposed to taking 40 seconds between pitches. For hitters, we already knew that a problem was stepping out of the batter's box. I think this just creates its go time from pitch one. If it's a 7-pitch at bat, it's going to take a minute and a half, 2 minutes, as opposed to a 7-pitch at bat taking 3 minutes. Because after each pitch, after each put away pitch that is fouled away, that took 30 seconds because you're looking for that edge. I think it's attack mode from the jump. It's awesome. And let me tell you this. Don LaGreca, I bet, has not sat through a game where he saw the pitch clock. I work with Howard Kellman, who's going to enter year 47. of being the voice
Legend.
of the Indianapolis Indians. Legend. And this is a guy that grew up watching Roger Maris. Like, first baseball that he remembers was Maris and Mantle. And you would think with something like that, right? With a pitch clock, it's, oh, like, this isn't pure baseball. He fucking loved it. Aram, we were driving up to a ballpark in Biloxi when we did that Deep South trip. And I said, dude, you're going to love this pitch clock. And he's like, I've never seen it. I'm going in with it with an open mind. We walk away from that game. And he was like, dude, I'm all in after one game. I bet you opening day, anybody that's anti-pitch clock is going to look at the clock when the game's over and say, oh, wow, I have a whole day left. This is awesome.
See, that is everything I've heard from people who have seen it and watched it multiple times. The reaction is, this is the best thing ever. It's like if you wanted to watch more home runs in the home run derby and they said, we're putting in metal bats. And then you came away from it thinking, this is the best thing that's ever happened. That seems to be the reaction. So I did have a couple of questions after listening to your guys' show, listening to them, because you made a lot of really good points. But my one worry with it, you said it yourself. Are the pitchers going to have so much of an advantage it actually lessens hitting? Because you said that the pitchers are getting into a rhythm and we could see a lot of shutouts or stuff like that when a guy just has it and a guy who normally has his routine of fixing his batting gloves gets thrown out of whack and then he's unable to adjust. Now, they should be able to adjust. That's why this is not a perfect rule opening day, even though it seems like this might be the rule where it is perfect, at least from the jump. But I can see that happening where we see some low score games early. That's why I was questioning, is this something that is just an advantage for the pitchers? Or to your point where you said, well, times the guy is off, so it could actually lead to a horrible outing.
Yeah.
But what happens more often? Because you've seen it more than once.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is baseball with the pitch clock will be more of a game of runs. It will be more of a game of streaks. So if you see a quick first out, you could be looking at a 2-minute half inning, which is a pitcher's dream. If there are back-to-back singles and the pitcher is on their heels and they know they have to execute a pitch, all of a sudden it could turn into a 3-run, 4-run inning because things just snowball quickly. Things are going to snowball, whether it's positive for the pitcher or positive for the hitter. And that's what we love about basketball, right? We love the 10-0 run followed by a 10-2 run by the other team, right? It's not always back and forth and back and forth. I think that this will create more runs. This will create, and not like literal runs scored in a baseball game. This will create more runs. This will create more streaks of good things happening for offenses or good things happening for pitchers. And that's what I saw.
That'll be interesting in the live betting sphere. Catching momentum early. Like, what were some key moments of momentum that you saw during your time watching the pitch clock?
So I would say if you see, like back-to-back hits to open a game, first 5 innings over, that feels like a very good bet to place because all of a sudden you're on your heels in the first inning. What does that do for a guy's mindset? Yeah,
maybe not even an over, but maybe a live money line. Like, let's say a team is an underdog and they're going against a better pitcher on the mound, and it seems that team should win because it's an ace versus a 3-starter or something, which happens all the time. But that ace doesn't have it. The command isn't there early, and then they start to snowball. That could be some time to find some good value on that underdog or vice versa.
So, that feeling that you really only get if you watch a ton of a sport or have played that sport before, where you can watch a guy throw, watch a guy hit, and it's like, wow, he feels it today. And especially with starting pitchers, right? He's feeling it today. Oh, yeah. I think you're going to get that feeling of, wow, he's feeling it today a lot quicker, like first or second inning.
That's what I look at almost every single game when I'm starting. And if I open it up to live bets, something that is very easy. This is not all of it, but just an easy pointer to just kind of get you rolling if you're interested in this sort of thing. Look at where the catcher is set up and look at if the pitcher is hitting his spots there. Yeah. Because there are times where a guy is really nasty and he calls for a fastball, on the lower outside corner, right? But then he throws a fastball up and it's middle and he gets a strikeout. He didn't hit his spots. He might be a little bit off. He might have gotten a little bit lucky there by not hitting his spot. But let's say he gets a base hit, but the catcher called for that fastball low and away, and the hitter just got a good piece of it. That doesn't mean the pitcher is off there. So those are just easy things to watch. Look for where the catcher's glove is set up. If a pitcher is hitting his spots early, that's normally a good sign. If he's not, that's where no matter what actually happens to that event, just keep that on in the back of your mind.
Yeah. My last thing on the clock, we're not speed running baseball. Like, pitchers are not going to turn into Wade Miley and Mark Burley, and that's the only way that you can throw through the course of a game. 40 to 50%, I bet, actually, now that I think of it, maybe north of 50% of guys in Major League Baseball already fit into the time constraints that will be set. All this does is get the slow motherfuckers to speed it up, which is exactly what we need.
It's exactly what we need. I had one more question too about the pitch clock. So we've seen it in college so far. I don't watch a lot of minor league games. That's what you would
automatic balls, the automatic strikes,
the automatic balls, automatic strikes. We've seen it in college. There's been some hoopla about it, but it's not been to the point where it's so egregious or anything. And I kind of like it so far. It adds an element of, oh my God, we just got screwed. Get in the box. Right. It adds that level of like anxiety and nervousness of we got to get in the box. We see the pitch clock going down. So I actually like it, but I could totally see hitters and pitchers being super, super annoyed at it. Right. Is that a part of the rule? And how do you think that it'll affect Major League Baseball?
Yeah, so the players obviously hate it, right? Like, the players hate the violation. They like the clock, but when the clock doesn't work for them, they hate it. They're like, what is this? I guarantee you Madison Bumgarner is gonna issue an automatic walk, and he's gonna throw a temper tantrum. And by temper tantrum, he's just gonna look like he hates life, which he always looks like. And yeah, I mean, it's gonna be Madison Bumgarner. We know that. It's going to be Madison Bumgarner that issues an automatic walk and raises hell about it. And we're gonna get every article from every outlet ever of Bumgarner saying, this is stupid, I'm done. But yeah, man, I mean, it's really frustrating for the player. What I will say is it's also confusing for the fans sometimes. As somebody calling the game, there were points where both Howard and I were like confused as to what was going on, right? When a guy starts walking away, it's, oh, that was an automatic strike 3 call. So I think that there is like a teensy bit of confusion. I think that year 2, for me, it's probably going to be a bit easier to detect, but it might be a full year where you're just like, wait, what just happened? If a guy's taking his base, and just know that it's probably an automatic ball call. The other thing that I think players understand, but you don't want to test it too much, is on an umpire by umpire basis, their level of stringency changes. So I saw guys that were very strict with it. Like, if a guy wasn't looking like he was ready to hit at 9 seconds, they would call the automatic strike. But there were other umpires where 8, 7, and now a guy's ready and they wouldn't do anything. So I think it'll vary on an umpire by umpire basis.
That can get dicey.
Because when Angel Hernandez is a dick.
Yeah. Ugh. I don't want to put more power into the hands of some of these people. Some of them are amazing.
Yeah.
Some of
Pat Hoberg, King.
Some of them make me want to drive a spear through my television.
Angel Hernandez, Spear TV.
I was hoping not to name them, but you did. Now we're here. Yeah. Angel Hernandez is an easy scapegoat, but there are more of them. And there are more of Pat Hobergs out there who do a really, really good job. One more question I had, and maybe this isn't even pertaining to the pitch clock. This might be a new one that we're transitioning to.
Yes, I'm trying a new shampoo. Does it look good?
Yeah, it looks great. Challenging balls and strikes, right? Because we saw that in the minor leagues with Jason Dominguez, that viral video where he
was in the fall league.
Yeah, it was in the fall league, and he challenged a strike call. I think it was strike 3, and I think he won it. Not sure if he won, but
it was a 3-2 pitch. He was called out on strikes. He challenged it. He won, and he walked.
Okay, is that something we'll see in Major League Baseball?
Not this year, but that's something that we're going to see in minor league baseball. And when you come out to Indianapolis, you are going to see the ABS system. So that is the big add. And that's the final rule that I wanted to talk about, and the only minor league rule that I wanted to talk about. So every AAA ballpark is going to have some sort of automatic strike zone. 15 minor league ballparks or AAA ballparks are going to have the full automated strike zone. So there will be an electronic ball strike call relayed to the home plate umpire, and that's the call. The other 15 will have the ABS challenge system, which is what Indianapolis is going to have. I'm really glad that we see the challenge system instead of the electronic strike zone, because the challenge, I'm more excited to see the challenge system, and I actually think that that is the one that makes its way to Major League Baseball instead of fully automated. The challenge system is in the background. You've got the fully automated strike zone running, but it is still up to human error of the home plate umpire to make the ball strike call. Think of tennis. If you watch a Grand Slam that isn't the French, I think the French is the only one that doesn't use it, but the US Open, Wimbledon, and the Australian Open, if you watch, one of the players can challenge and you see the replay of the ball landing near the line and it shows in or out. That's pretty much what happens. So I think it's 3 challenges a game. I don't know the exact number of challenges right now. I will have that answer before March 31 because I'm going to have to know. But say a hitter in the second inning is even the count 2-2. Slider, lower outside corner, hitter thinks it's ball 3, umpire rings him up. You can pull the Jason Dominguez, hit the top of your head. Then on the Jumbotron in center field or wherever it is, they will show what looks very similar to that replay in tennis, where you see, and you see it a lot on, baseball TV broadcasts, where they'll show the automated strike zone and the flight of the ball, if it clips the strike zone or anything like that. That is exactly what you will see. That's what the player and umpire will see. And if the ball does clip the outside corner of the strike zone, then the call stands. If it does not, then the call is overturned. It's 3-2.
I like it. I am a fan
too.
of it. One last question. What levels of the minor leagues is this going to be available on? Just AAA, AA2, all levels? Where are we looking
That's
at?
a good question. It was, so fully automated was around in low A last year, I want to say. There were a couple places with fully automated strike zones, like Charlotte had a fully automated strike zone. I think the PCL had a fully automated strike zone last year, the Pacific Coast League. At least they did have Hawkeye, which is StatCast data. Also, every AAA ballpark now equipped with StatCast. So there is a loophole on Baseball Savant to go see exit velocities and all that for AAA games, which is going to be awesome. But the big ruling for Major League Baseball was every AAA ballpark will either have the automated strike zone or the ABS challenge system. So if you do want to see it at play, tune into a AAA game.
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the rule changes. We tried to break it down the best way we can. We have the best person I think of when I think of rule changes in Major League Baseball, and that is our guy, Jack McMullen. He's seen it firsthand in the minor leagues. He has a podcast, Show and Go, which you should go and check out, with Taylor Davis, who is a career big leaguer. He's a career minor leaguer. He's been up and down. He's been everywhere in Major League Baseball and in minor league baseball, and now has been the physical catcher in these type of at-bats. Make sure, if you want to know anything more, if you want to see his insight, definitely go check out that episode and continue to check out those episodes. It's awesome insight. They have player interviews all the time. This will definitely affect the minor leagues. Definitely all that stuff that Jack is talking about with exit velocities, all the StatCast data. We know that Jack and Arm are going to be going over those on the call-up, so make sure to go check out the minor league podcast. Not Gambling Advice is humming soon. And the reason I say soon is I've spent the last couple of nights, late into the night, going over home run and strikeout projections on Prize Picks.
The spreadsheet looks crazy. Let me interrupt you here. The spreadsheet Peter just shared with me looks freaking absurd.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff, a lot of different projections, and I found a lot of value on home runs and strikeouts. Don't talk to me about RBIs. They're impossible to project. So much variance, so much mumbo jumbo. It's all about your teammates, and it's not something I'm ever going to put my money on, and also not something I'd ever tell you to put your money on, even though it's not gambling advice, but we know the drill. Also, multi-home run games on Prize Picks, no. Home runs, strikeouts, those are something that we could project. those are something that we can tangibly look at and make money off of. If you want to be a part of that, make sure to download Prize Picks. Use code JustBaseball. It is in the episode description. Full 100% deposit match. We're going to be playing so many season-long props because I see so much value, and I'm just buzzing right now. College baseball, we got it. Making bets. We know the drill. Get your Just Baseball merch. It's in the episode description. Best way to support our podcast. If you don't want to spend a dime, no worries. If you could rate us 5 stars on Apple or Spotify, as well as leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and comment some of your problems or your favorites with the rule changes, all watching on YouTube. Way too close for Jack's face. But with that, thank you, everybody.